All right. Should I convert my traditional IRA to a Roth IRA? After doing the video on the qualified plans, been getting a lot of DMs and messages about, well, then what do I do? I guess Roth conversions have been a conversation for a while, and it's good that we dig into this. So really what you need to feel like, or there's a couple questions that you need to understand, or a couple questions you got to ask yourself so that you feel comfortable with whether converting is the right strategy for you or not. And we're going to dig into that in this video. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's keep the conversation going. I know a lot of the stuff I talk about here is unconventional. Your financial advisor is not talking to you about it. You know, your financial planner, your investment person is not talking to you about it. And that's the point. This is different information. If what you thought you knew to be true ended up being wrong, how fast would you want to know it, and how fast would you make a change? That's what this channel is about. That's what these videos are about. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Let's keep going. Okay. The question to answer depends on two things: whether you should convert the Roth to convert your IRA, your qualified plan, to a Roth IRA. Is first, whether your retirement tax rate will be higher or lower than your current tax rate. That has a significant bearing on this strategy, and we'll talk about that. Two, to convert will cost you a certain amount in taxes. As an alternative to converting, you could invest those dollars with the money you would use to pay tax. And if you invest wisely and successfully, the investment may be more valuable than the tax savings of the Roth. We're going to look at that. And the other one is, how do you pay the tax? That's a third question that's not on here. Let's explore which option makes the most sense for you. So here's the assumptions that I put in here, and we can mess around with these, but let's say you're currently 55 years old. You're going to retire at 65. You've got $1 million in your IRA, which is good, right? More is better, but let's go with the $1 million. We're going to project this to age 100 because I'm going to use that as a comparison for an alternative strategy here in a little bit. And by the way, this is the generation of people that more are going to live to be centenarians than ever before. We're going to live longer. Life expectancy is going to push out. So accumulation growth rate of 6%, accumulation tax rate. So the conversion tax rate is going to be 40%. Tax rate and distribution, we're going to put 40%, because if you've seen my other videos, you know that taxes aren't going down. They're only going up, right? We talked about this in some of our other videos, but I'll bring it up again. Right now, our annual revenue as a country is $4.8 trillion. Never mind the deficit, but it's a big component of it. Right now, we're paying $4.5 trillion just to service the interest. That's 93% of our budget is going to pay basically credit card interest. Not even paying down, just paying the interest on the money that we've borrowed is 93% of our revenue as a country. So if you think taxes are going down, you are drinking the Kool-Aid that they want you to drink. It's not going down, it's only going up. So the question is, do you convert your qualified plan now, pay the taxes now, get Uncle Sam or your silent partner out of this transaction forevermore? But what does it look like? Is that a viable solution for you or not? Well, let's take a look. So let's go to traditional IRA. So you have $1 million, and if you left it alone, if you left the IRA alone and you did not do a conversion on this strategy, you would have the ability to take, well, in this example, running it out to age 100 using that 6% assumption, $115,000 a year starting at age 65. You see right here, $115,000 a year starting at age 65. But after taxes, after you paid 40% to the government each and every year, after taxes, you're going to be getting $69,000 of an after-tax distribution off of $1 million plan. So the after-tax income from the traditional IRA is $2.4 million. Okay. Now, if you're going to do a Roth conversion, you have to pay the tax from somewhere. If you want to get $1 million from your qualified plan and $1 million into your IRA, the government wants you, because we're on a pay-as-you-go system for the IRS. So when you earn income, they want you to pay tax as you go. And in a 40% tax bracket, that's $400,000. So the assumption here, and it's a big assumption, and I'll talk about the alternative here in a second. The assumption here is you have $400,000 sitting off on the sidelines. You have $400,000 in savings, investments, or some other liquid type of location where you can pay the 40% tax on $1 million IRA to Roth IRA conversion. If you don't, or you don't want to use that, stay with me. I'm going to show you a strategy here a little bit later in this video. But the assumption here is you're going to pay that $400,000. So the analysis that this is earning 6% for the next 10 years leading up to your retirement. How big would that $400,000 grow to? And could you start to take distributions? And does that make sense to take that distribution plus the IRA distribution, leaving it where it's at? Is that better than the Roth IRA? That's the question that this is asking. And what this is showing you is when you add up the distributions from the traditional IRA over the lifetime and the distributions from the conversion account, that 400,000 over the lifetime, the total income from both of those accounts for your lifetime is $3.4 million. The Roth IRA is $4.1 million. So the Roth wins by almost $675,000 of distributions over your lifetime from 65 to age 100, right? So if you had the ability to convert $1 million from your IRA to your Roth IRA, you had 400,000 sitting in a side account to pay the taxes, the full $1 million goes into the Roth IRA at a 6% growth rate, at a 40% tax rate, which doesn't matter because now the Roth IRA is tax-free. The annual distribution is $115,000 from age 65 through age 100, and that totals up to $4.1 million of total distributions. So the Roth IRA makes sense if you have $400,000 sitting over here on the sidelines to pay the tax. What if you don't have $400,000 sitting on the sidelines to pay the tax? What does that conversion look like? Remember, we had a $115,000 distribution coming from the Roth IRA. But if I change this to an after-tax portion of $600,000, and then I look at how much income could the Roth, so what I'm doing here is I'm saying you've got $1 million in your IRA, you're moving it over to your Roth IRA. You either don't have or don't want to use $400,000 from somewhere else to pay the government. So you just reduce your $1 million distribution by the tax, pay the government, and now you have $600,000 in the Roth IRA. Well, now it's a lot less, right? Instead of $115,000 a year, you're taking $69,000 a year income tax free. That's not good, right? So you might as well just leave everything where it's at. But how do you do this where you can convert the IRA over to the Roth IRA and minimize or mitigate the taxes that you would otherwise pay? And that's what I want to show you here. Remember, I talked about a strategy last time in the qualified plan video that you can watch right here, but I'll recap it right here. There is a retirement asset financing technique strategy that can be employed if your account value is large enough. So if we're talking $1 million or more IRAs that we're thinking about converting over, if it's slightly less than $1 million, still DM me. We can possibly talk about that. If you're over the age of 59 and a half, it works better. But what I'm going to show you here is for a 55-year-old, right? The same analysis that I just showed you that we were comparing over here for a 55-year-old. I'm going to do the same thing in our retirement asset financing strategy. So this is the flow. 1, there's a plan participant. 2, the money gets paid to the IRS because we're on a pay-as-you-go system. 3, we set up a special type of trust to hold this account. 4, we borrow money from a lender. 5, we put that full amount into a life insurance policy. 6, we pay the loan back. I will get into this in more detail when you reach out to me. But here's what the flow of money looks like in that scenario. So a little over $1 million in an IRA, we're taking distributions over 6 years. Because this is in an IRA, we're assuming a pre-59 and a half penalty for the first few years until they reach 59. Here's a side note. You know, there is a 401k provision that says if you've separated from service at age 55 or older and the money's still in the 401k, any distributions are not subject to a 10% penalty. But your financial advisor is probably eager to get you to roll that money into an IRA so they can start to get paid. Remember, compensation drives behavior, and they're either lazy, ignorant, or greedy. I did a video on that. You can watch that right here. But if they were prudent enough to let you leave it in the 401k. We're not going to be subject to 10%. We still have to pay tax, but we're not subject to the 10% early retirement penalty. If they've moved it over into an IRA and you're pre 59 and a half and we do this, well, we're going to have to pay the tax, the 10% early tax. And that's what I'm assuming here. So I'm assuming a 40% income tax bracket, 10% early retirement penalty. And we're doing that conversion. And the conversion is getting the bank to finance the taxable amount so that the full premium goes into this strategy using an index universal life insurance policy, right? And so there's lots of videos and lots of papers out there about how you do an IRA to IUL conversion. And that's kind of what we're talking about here, because I've done characteristics of an IUL, or a 10-minute lesson on life insurance. You can watch that video here. We've done that to show you it's got 11 of the 12 characteristics that you're looking for: tax deferred growth, tax fee distributions, competitive rates of return, it's guaranteed, it's safe, blah, 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 collateralized, all that stuff. But the point here is that we're using a vehicle that the government has created for us that gives us the same tax treatment as a Roth IRA. The difference is, because we're using a fixed insurance vehicle that has upside growth potential, we're able to get a bank to work with us to finance the taxes and replenish the taxes back into your IUL plan, which gets the full amount starting to work for you to grow. And in this example, and I'll get into this in detail later on, we're going to pay the bank loan back inside of 10 years. You are going to pay you're going to pay interest on the amount of money that we borrowed from the bank, but that interest payment is $274,000 over a 10-year window in this example. We took out a little over $1 million from your IRA. So that's effectively a 20 to 25% tax bracket if you think about the interest as a tax as opposed to the tax. So we dropped it from a 50% tax liability down to about a 25% tax liability. And for others, we've done a 40% tax liability down to a 10% tax liability. But the distributions, and again, this is given to us from the insurance carrier, the distributions are $103,000 a year, income tax free all the way through age 100, if not sooner than that. But on top of that, there is a residual net death benefit after all fees and expenses that would go to beneficiaries. So the economic value of this design, when we start to look at how it works, starts to look like this, right? So I'll go back up here. Comparison of taxes paid on these plans. So our RAFT strategy, look, Uncle Sam's still getting their taxes. And so it totals up to $589,000, but it gets Uncle Sam out of your pocket as quickly as possible. Remember, we're going to get a bank to recharge these taxable amounts back into the plan, so the full dollars are going back in. But when you leave it in the status quo, and status quo means leaving your IRA where it's at, not doing a conversion, look at the cumulative taxes that are paid over this window of time. Every single year, I mean, over the lifetime of the plan, the RAFT strategy that we've designed is $589,000 of taxes. And assuming taxes don't go up, but stay at 40%, the status quo, doing nothing, leaving it where it's at, earning 7% on the money, you're going to pay 1.2. That's a $700,000 additional tax that you unnecessarily have to pay. The point of this is like, comment, share, subscribe, DM me. There's a strategy in place that many people don't know about, don't even know it's even possible, where we can get a lender to replenish the taxes that have gone to the government to make sure more of your money's working in retirement for you. Look at spendable cash flow. If we're going to get the retirement plan, the IRA left alone, no conversion, leave it where it's at, to try to match the distributions that we can get from our retirement asset financing technique, it's going to run out of money. At a 7% static rate of return, which is generous, in retirement, that's a generous number. You're probably going to be even more conservative than that, which means you're going to take even less distributions, but that's a whole nother conversation. You're going to run out of money in this example. Well, in our RAFT strategy, not only do you not run out of money, but it continues to have a residual death benefit while you're taking $103,000 a year income tax free for the rest of your life. Your family, your wife, your kids, your grandkids, there's going to be leftover money. So you're creating a legacy. So not only are you paying less taxes than leaving it where it's at. Not only are we replenishing those taxes with bank financing, not only are you getting tax-free income for the rest of your life, but you are also leaving a legacy to your family. Now, here's the caveat, and here's what we have to address. This is showing income not starting for 10 years. So we have to address, if you're going to retire inside of 10 years from a retirement asset financing technique, RAF strategy, we have to figure out, how do we bridge that gap for income? Are there other assets, other sources of income where we can take distributions and give this strategy time? If you want this strategy to start to generate income, let's say inside of 5 years, this is probably not going to work. We have to carve out a little bit of money to live off of while we give this thing time to cook. However, if you do have time to let this cook, this strategy will not only provide more income over a longer period of time, but it'll give you less taxes to pay during that window. And that's really what this is all about. Let's minimize the tax burden. Let's give Caesar what Caesar's due, but let's not give Uncle Sam a penny more. Let's give them only what you're legally obligated to give them, not a penny more. Don't let them take advantage of this tax bomb for you. So I hope this has been helpful. Remember, Roth conversion can make sense if you've got outside assets to pay off the tax. If you don't have that, maybe the Roth conversion doesn't make sense. Reach out to me. There is a retirement asset financing technique. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I've got a link in the description about having a conversation with me, 15 minutes. Let's talk about your situation. Let's see if this makes sense. We'll give you good advice. See you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Peace.